Part 3. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 21. Then, soon the English teacher walked in with a book under his arm. The English teacher is a young woman in her late 20s and mid-teens who has graduated from graduate school. She is fashionably dressed and has a good temperament. He introduced himself as He Jing and said he would get along with everyone like friends, and he quickly won the favor of the freshmen. Listening to He Jing's lecture, Li Jie took out a notebook, placed it on top of the English textbook, and started writing. Brother Jie, what are you writing? Are you writing a novel again? Yang Hao, who was sitting next to him, looked over curiously. Paper is short but love is long. You are writing lyrics, Yang Hao said unexpectedly after seeing the content on the paper clearly. After the 2 English classes, during the break, people in 2s and 3s gathered around Lu Kaiyu asking about the welcome performance, and Li Jie also walked over. Li Jie, do you want to sign up too? Lu Kaiyu had no impression of Li Jie, but she heard that his family was well off. Is it okay to perform a solo? Of course, it's just that solo singing is too common. If the song has no characteristics, it will be difficult to be selected for the program, Lu Kaiyu explained. Li Jie nodded, indicating that he understood. I will play and sing Paper is Short and Love is Long by myself. Please help me register for the cultural committee. Paper is short, love is long. Lu Kaiyu wrote down the title of the song on the paper. The title of the song is very nice, but I have never heard it. Whose song is it? My song. Your song. Lu Kaiyu reacted and asked in surprise, is it an original song? At this time, Yang Hao came over to offer the treasure and said, our brother Jie is a great talent. He can not only write novels, but also write songs. Lu Kaiyu nodded non-committally, if it is an original song, as long as the quality is not too bad, it will be easy to be selected. Jizi, do you want to perform? He's Hegang and Wang's Haihang also came over at this time. Wang's Haihang said, then I will also sign up for a show, a street dance performance. Lu Kaiyu wrote down all the applicants, and then said, I will register for all the programs. Tomorrow and the next 2 days are weekends. Everyone should practice the program and be ready. The next program selection will be held at the gymnasium at 6 p.m., reviewed on site by members of the arts department. Because it was Friday, there were no classes in the afternoon, so on the first day of school, I only had 4 classes before it was off again. On the way back to the dormitory, He's Hegang and the others asked curiously. Jizi, can you still write songs? Actually, I just write casually, Li Jie said lightly. Jizi, why did you sign up? In He's Hegang's opinion, Li Jie has a low-key and reserved personality and is not the kind of person who likes to be in the limelight. Li Jie smiled and said, it will be kept secret for now. You will know when the time comes. Okay, you kid is still playing mystery with me. After lunch, Li Jie took his laptop again in the afternoon and went to the teaching building to code alone. Although he updates 3 chapters every day, the number of manuscripts in his hand has not diminished. There are more than 30 chapters. Because Li Jie updates a lot but also writes more, he promises to write at least 12,000 words every day. Li Jie's hand speed is not very fast. He can only code about 3,000 words in an hour. He also needs to have smooth thinking and no glitches. He is incomparable to those tentacle monsters who code 4,000, 5,000, 6,7,000 words in an hour. The coding of 12,000 words, plus revisions, takes almost 6 hours. During these days of military training, Li Jie had to code more than 20,000 words every day. The price was to write at least 10 hours a day. It can be said that except for daily activities such as eating, sleeping, and exercising, all time was spent on coding. As for why he works so hard? It's because Li Jie knows very well that updating online articles is king. No matter how good the quality of the novel is, it will be difficult to achieve great results if it is updated. Since he chose to embark on the path of online writing again, he must do his best and become one of the top masters. The next day, Saturday, Li Jie rarely went to the teaching building to code. Instead, he ran for a walk early in the morning. After breakfast, he took the bus to the city. It was not until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon that he carried a guitar bag and a bunch of large items. Bags big and small, back to school. Damn it, Jazzy, did you buy so many things again? Seeing Li Jie come back with a lot of things, his Higang and the others were speechless. Clothes, shoes, belts, watches, and skincare products. How much does it cost to buy so many things? It didn't cost much. Among the things Li Jie bought, the most expensive one was the Omega watch, which cost more than 23,000 yuan, but this price was only entry level for Omega. Speaking of which, it was an accident that Li Jie bought this watch. When he was shopping in a department store, he accidentally walked into a watch counter. He saw a watch and liked it very much, so he said to the clerk, "I want this watch." Unexpectedly, the clerk said in surprise, "Classmate, are you sure you want to buy it? This DeVille 2500 is originally priced at 23,900 yuan. If you want to buy it, you can get a 92% discount and a free belt of the same style. 23,900 yuan? What brand is this?" "Classmate, we are an Omega counter. This DeVille 2500 is among our DeVille series of men's watches." When Li Jie heard about Omega, he reacted instantly. Although he didn't recognize the trademark, he was very familiar with the name. Omega is one of the luxury watch brands. Anyone who writes online articles doesn't know how to name brands. No wonder no one had been paying attention to him just now. He was dressed as a student, and he was obviously regarded as a student who came to hang out. Well, that seems to be true, he is indeed a student, and he is indeed here to hang out. In his last life, if he encountered such a situation of accidentally entering a luxury store and faced with the high price, Li Jie could only retreat in panic. But now, "Swipe your card, please wrap it up for me." Li Jie took out the card directly and handed it over. "Okay, sir." Seeing a look of surprise flash across the clerk's face, followed by a bright smile and taking the bank card with both hands, Li Jie had to admit that he felt really good. No wonder the protagonists in those wealthy novels like to go to luxury stores to show off. But his Higang and the others obviously couldn't recognize Omega just like Li Jie. They just regarded it as an ordinary watch and focused more on the new guitar he bought. "Jazzy, have you bought a guitar?" Wang Zhaiheng opened his guitar bag, picked up the guitar, looked at it, and then played it a few times with great skill. "This guitar is of good quality. The price shouldn't be cheap, right? It's not expensive, and it only costs less than 3,000 yuan. The single-board folk guitar Li Jie bought was a mid-range guitar. With his amateur guitar skills, it was a waste to buy a guitar that was too good. "It's less than 3,000 yuan, his Higang complained. "Jazzy, why do I feel that in your eyes, 3,000 yuan is about the same as 30 yuan? Li Jie smiled and didn't answer. His Higang was right, now in his eyes, 3,000 yuan is really about the same as 30 yuan. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 22. Li Jie bought his first guitar for only 300 yuan, but he felt more distressed than if he spent 3,000 yuan now, because at that time he only had 50,000 to 60,000 yuan, and 300 yuan was equivalent to 2% of his net worth. 1, and he now has 12 million, and 3,000 yuan is only equivalent to 1/4,000th of his net worth, so 3,000 yuan is really not as good as the 30 yuan it once was. When ordinary people buy a mobile phone that costs tens of thousands of yuan, many people will think it is a bit luxurious, but if a person with tens of millions of dollars buys a mobile phone that costs tens of thousands of yuan, everyone will think it is normal. Because the latter's financial resources are enough to support his consumption like this. It can be said that Li Zhe's consumption has been extremely restrained. For ordinary people, if they win tens of millions of dollars, they don't know what the expansion will be like. By the way, I also bought some small gifts for everyone, Li Zhe said, taking out 6 wallets of the same style and color from one of the bags. When I was shopping in a department store, I saw that this wallet was pretty good, so I bought a few more. Let's each pick one. If you always show off your wealth, you will easily be hated by others. It is appropriate to spend a little money, spread a little money, and let the people around you benefit from it. This will not only reduce people's hostility towards you, but also win the world. Some good feelings. Jizi, we are all brothers in the same dormitory, why are you so polite? Although they said this, He's Higang and the others were obviously very happy in their hearts, and each of them picked a color they liked. Chen Baiun and Lin Jing were not in the dormitory, so Li Zhe put his wallet on the bed for them. Is this wallet made of genuine leather? It should be quite expensive, right? Jizi, how much did you pay for it? He's Higang fiddled with the wallet in his hand. How could brother Zhe buy fake leather? It must be real leather, Yang Hao said. Actually, some fake leather bags are more expensive than genuine leather bags. Just like Li Zhe added in his mind. Although this wallet is made of genuine leather, it's not a big brand. It only costs a little over 200 yuan each. He's Higang shook his head, more than 200, this should be the most expensive wallet I have ever used. As he said that, he put the wallet on the desk. Actually, I don't need a wallet, I don't have one in my pocket. A few bucks. Jizi, you might as well buy me a pair of basketball shoes, at least for playing games. Li Zhe nodded, no problem, brother Gang, I'll give you a pair. He was really grateful to He's Higang for winning the prize, so not to mention giving him a pair of basketball shoes, it was appropriate to give him 10 pairs. No, please don't, He's Higang said quickly. Jizi, don't get me wrong, I'm not asking for your shoes. You are rich, but my brother can't always take advantage of you, otherwise this brother will have nothing to deal with in the future. Okay, listen to brother Gang. Seeing this, Li Zhe didn't insist anymore. Brother Zhe, at this time, Yang Hao licked his face and came over. Brother Gang doesn't want it, I want it, can you give me a pair? It doesn't have to be too expensive, just 300 or 400. Li Zhe smiled and ignored him. He just scattered some money, and this guy really took him as a bastard. For someone like this who only knows how to take advantage and has no gratitude at all, Li Zhe felt that it was a waste just to give him a wallet. He's Higang stretched out his hand and slapped Yang Hao hard on the back. Huzi, please show some respect. Just pay 300 or 400. You have the nerve to speak. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Li Zhe came back from lunch in the cafeteria. When he returned to the dormitory, he didn't rush to eat. Instead, he grabbed a chair, sat down, and picked up his guitar. I strummed the guitar strings with my fingers a few times, briefly tried the tone, and then started to play and sing softly. Li Zhe started playing guitar very late. It was after he experienced a trough in his life that he chose to return to his hometown in the mountain city and become an ordinary teacher before buying his first guitar. At that time, he had completely given up the idea of getting married and stopped writing novels. He went to school to teach during the day and played the guitar and sang at night to relax. He only had a few decades left in his life, so why get married just for the sake of getting married? Exhausted physically and mentally. After playing Paper is Short and Love is Long once, Li Zhe shook his head and was not satisfied. I played several syllables wrong and sang out of tune in several places. It seems that tomorrow I will guarantee a minimum code of 6,000 words. I will save more time to practice playing and singing, and don't make a fool of myself during the selection. After dinner, Li Jie took his laptop to the teaching building again. He hasn't coded yet today. On Sunday afternoon, when Li Jie logged into the backend of Kidian, a total of 17 chapters of Martial Arts Without Limits had been uploaded, with a total word count of more than 35,000 words. In fact, the total word count reached 30,000 words last night, and it has not been collected yet. When it comes to the contract text message, the 30,000 word contract should be out of the question. Although Li Jie was a little disappointed in this regard, he didn't care too much. If he doesn't sign a contract for 30,000 words, it can only be said that from the perspective of the review editor, he is not particularly optimistic about his book. But based on Li Jie's years of experience in writing books, it is estimated that with the writing style and quality of his novel, signing a contract for 50,000 words should not be a big problem. Li Jie looked at the data. There were more than 3,000 clicks, 306 recommendation votes, 296 collections, and 7 or 8 more comments in the book review area, all expressing support and urging updates. The performance of the novel is growing really fast, especially when the collection is about to reach 300, and the first achievement is about to be reached and the collection exceeds 300. Li Jie couldn't help but sigh, I wish I could achieve this result when I first wrote a book. But soon, Li Jie shook his head. He was able to achieve such good results because he was completely cheating and used his writing style and experience more than 10 years later to write outdated and past novels. At 9 o'clock in the evening, Zhang Yan, a student from Class 2 education, went to the bathroom and came back from the shower. As soon as she reached the door of the dormitory building, she was stopped by someone. She turned around and saw that the person calling her was a very handsome boy, who was also very well dressed. "Classmate, are you okay?" Seeing the boy walking over with a smile and a rose and a colorful envelope in his hand, Zhang Yan instantly became nervous and her heart beat a little faster. Could he be, if so, should I accept it immediately, or, accept it immediately? I finally mustered up the courage to confess my love. What should I do if I get hit and leave the hotel? In Zhang Yan's opinion, this boy completely met her ideal boyfriend standards. "Classmate, can I ask you a favor?" the boy said politely. Zhang Yan's face stiffened and her smile turned cold. She couldn't help but feel embarrassed and disappointed. She forced a smile and said, "Of course. Classmate, you live on the 4th floor of the school, right?" Seeing Zhang Yan nodding, the boy smiled and said, "Can you please help me deliver this letter and this flower to Xiaojiao in dormitory 210? Okay." Zhang Yan really didn't want to help, but she hesitated and took the things over. She wanted to stop by dormitory 210 to see what Xiaojiao looked like. "Classmate, thank you so much." The boy's smile became even brighter. He took out a bottle of drink from behind and handed it to Zhang Yan. "Please drink some water. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn." Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 23. Seeing the boy turning around and about to leave, Zhang Yan couldn't help but call him out, "Classmate, what's your name, and which class are you in?" The boy turned around and said, "I'm from Chinese class 2, my name is." "It's so embarrassing, Zhang Yan, you're so embarrassed." After Li Jie left, Zhang Yan couldn't help but cover her face. "I actually misunderstood that I came to confess to you." Zhang Yan sighed, "Sure enough, all good men belong to others." She looked herself up and down. She was not very short, her skin was fair, and she looked good. It's not bad either. Zhang Yan decided to go to 210 to have a look. She was curious, what did Xiaojiao look like? Dormitory 210. Zhang Qiang, who has short hair and is dressed like a boy, is lying on the upper bunk, wearing headphones and playing MP3. Bai Wei, who has long legs, is sitting on the bed, holding a mirror and stroking her face. There is also a girl sitting on the bed, reading a book at the desk. At this time, a girl broke in. Xiaojiao, do you live in this dormitory? Bai Wei raised her head and said, Xiaojiao, she is from our dormitory, but she is not washing up. Do you have anything to do with her? Zhang Qiang also took off his headphones. Yes, what do you want? Zhang Yan originally thought Bai Wei was Xiaojiao because she was the most beautiful and had a good figure, but it turned out not to be the case. I was asked to pass this on to her. With that said, Zhang Yan gestured to the letter and rose in her hand. For Xiaojiao, after hearing this, Zhang Qiang suddenly became interested, jumped down from the upper bunk, and took the letter and rose, just give it to me. Zhang Yan turned around and left the 210 dormitory. Although she was a little disappointed not to see Xiaojiao, but the things were delivered and she had no reason to stay any longer. At this time, a girl happened to come back with a wash basin, and she passed by Zhang Yan. Then she heard the short-haired girl call out, Xiaojiao, you're back. Xiaojiao. Zhang Yan couldn't help but take a closer look at the girl. She was pure, beautiful, and well-behaved. She was indeed an outstanding girl. No wonder it attracts such outstanding boys. However, when Zhang Yan's eyes fell on Xiaojiao's chest, her heart instantly felt balanced. It turns out to be an airport. She muttered something under her breath. Xiaojiao had no idea that she was despised by others in her heart. As soon as she returned to the dormitory, she saw Zhang Qiang rushing towards her excitedly. I don't know if your roses and love letters are from Brother Song or from handsome Brother Zhou. In college, beautiful girls never lack suitors, and girls like Xiaojiao, who are pure and well-behaved, are more popular among boys, so even though school has just started, there are already 2 boys pursuing her. One was a sophomore named Song whom they met during registration, and the other was a boy from their major named Zhou. Xiaojiao took the envelope and opened it. No, it's a boy named Li Zhe from Chinese class 2. Oh, it turns out there is a new suitor. After saying that, Zhang Qiang looked at Bai Wei. Wei, Xiaojiao has 3 votes now, and he has already surpassed you. Bai Wei smiled nonchalantly. This boy is a bit stingy. He would just give him a flower to express his love. Zhang Qiang agreed, giving 11 flowers as a gift is good. Besides, sending a love letter is too cliché. If you really like someone, you should confess your love in person. Xiaojiao shook his head, with a smile on his face. I think it's good to send love letters. This was the first time in her life that she received a love letter. The next night, another girl walked into dormitory 210 with a love letter and roses. Is Xiaojiao here? A boy asked me to hand it over to her. Xiaojiao was not there, so Zhang Qiang took the love letter and roses on her behalf. She glanced at the name on the cover of the love letter and said, it's that Li Zhe again, this time sending 2 roses. This boy is quite persistent. On the 3rd night, a girl came in with a love letter and 4 roses. Seeing Xiaojiao receiving love letters and roses from the girl, Zhang Qiang couldn't help complaining. Li Zhe didn't just buy a bouquet of roses, open them and give them away. On the 4th night, a girl came in with a love letter and a small bouquet of roses. Xiaojiao inserted the roses into the vase. There were already 15 roses in the vase. Bai Wei looked at the roses and said, on the 1st day there was 1 rose, on the 2nd day there were 2 roses, on the 3rd day there were 4 roses, and today on the 4th day there were 8 roses. It is obviously an increase of multiples of 2. I'm fine with that. I'm curious, how long can that boy named Li Zhe last? Zhang Qiang said, I guess in a week at most, the other party will show up and confess to our Xiaojiao in person. Otherwise, if he persists until the 11th day, he will send 1024 roses, thousands of roses. Such a scenario I've only seen it in idol dramas. Another girl named Lu Li said, 1,000 Roses confession makes me feel romantic just thinking about it. If anyone confesses to me like this, I will definitely agree. Bai Wei asked, Xiaoqiao, if I really persist until the 11th day and send you thousands of roses to face you, will you agree? Xiaoqiao thought for a while, chuckled, and then said something. I don't know. At noon on Monday, as soon as Li Jie opened the starting point, he found that the popularity of martial arts without limits had skyrocketed, with more than 6,500 hits, 723 recommended votes, and 608 collections. In less than a day, the score doubled. He immediately opened the newcomer potential list on the homepage, and sure enough, Martial Arts Without Limits was already on the list, currently ranked 15th. The newcomer potential list is updated every Monday morning. In order to meet the word count for the list, Li Jie uploaded 6 chapters after 12 o'clock last night, bringing the total word count to 50,000. As soon as he was listed on the rookie potential list, his popularity really exploded. Li Jie remembered that there seemed to be an unspoken rule in Kidian at this time, that is, the top 15 newcomers on the potential list could basically sign. Of course, novels that rely solely on brushing data and hard brushing up are not counted. Ranked 15th, this position is a bit dangerous, because the potential newcomer list only has 15 positions on the homepage, and it is easy to be squeezed off the homepage. Rank 16th was an urban cultivation novel called The Ancient Martial Arts Boy. Li Jie clicked on it and found that the total word count was more than 160,000, and its potential value was only 100 less than Martial Arts Without Limits. More points, I was following closely behind, so I quickly uploaded another chapter and asked for votes. At 7 o'clock in the evening, Li Jie came to the gymnasium with Wang Haiheng carrying his guitar bag to participate in the program selection for the New Year's party. An activity room on the second floor of the gymnasium was filled with freshmen who came to participate in the selection. When Lu Kaiu saw Li Jie and the others coming, she immediately came over and asked, "How are you preparing?" Wang Haiheng was full of confidence and said, "Small scenes, no problem." Li Jie also said, "It's okay." Lu Kaiu nodded, "That's good." The people responsible for the review are Zhang Kai, the Minister of Literature and Art, Shen Yu, the Vice Minister, and 2 officers, a total of 4 people, Lu Kaiu said, pointing to the 4 people sitting behind the review table in the room. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 24. The one with black-rimmed eyes is Zhang Kai, and the tall and beautiful senior is Shen Yu. After waiting for about half an hour, it was Li Jie's turn to perform. In addition to Li Jie and Wang Haiheng, Chinese Class 2 also came to participate in the selection, as well as the league secretary Chen Mengting, and a girl named Cao Qian. "Come on, everyone," after saying come on, everyone, Lu Kaiu accompanied Li Jie and the 4 of them into the activity room. The first person to perform on stage was Wang Haiheng, who performed a floor dance. During the Thomas pirouette, Minister Zhang Kai and Vice Minister Shen Yu both applauded lightly. After dancing, Wang Haiheng was sweating a little, but he looked very excited. He bowed and walked off the stage. He looked at Li Jie and said, "Are you awesome, buddy?" and glanced at Lu Kaiu. Lu Kaiu smiled at him encouragingly, which immediately made Wang Haiheng even more excited. Next, Chen Mengting took the stage to perform a modern poetry recitation, and Cao Qian also took the stage to sing a song, but neither caught the attention of the judges. "Li Jie, it's your turn," Lu Kaiu reminded in a low voice. Li Jie nodded to her and walked onto the stage with his guitar. "Hello fellow seniors, I am Li Jie from Chinese Class 2, and the program I want to perform is to play and sing Paper is Short, Love is Long on guitar." After looking at the registration form in her hand, Deputy Minister Shen Yu said with great interest, "Paper is short but love is long? Classmate Li Jie, is this song your original work? I'm looking forward to your performance." Li Jie held the microphone, then gently plucked the guitar strings, and sang, "You accompany me into the cicada summer, beyond the hustle and bustle of the city, your singing is wandering." Li Jie's guitar skills can only be considered entry-level, and his singing skills are average, at the level of ordinary KTV. However, his more than 30 years of life experience and empathy have allowed him to sing out all the emotions expressed in the songs. Books cannot be written, paper is short but love is long. There is a hint of sadness in the singing, full of aftertaste and nostalgia for the youthful and beautiful feelings of the past. Meeting you in my lifetime has cost me all my luck. After a song was finished, the 4 people behind the judges' table applauded at the same time. Lu Kaiyu and others in the audience also applauded. Only Wang Haiheng looked at Li Jie with jealous eyes. "The singing is so good," Minister Zhang Kai commented. "Classmate Li Jie, did you really write this song 'Paper is short but love is long'?" Li Jie nodded, "Yes, it's my original creation." "That's amazing. Classmate Li Jie, I'm looking forward to your performance at the welcome party." Zhang Kai directly announced that Li Jie was selected. "A song with a lot of stories," Deputy Minister Shen Yu looked at Li Jie with a smile and said, "Junior, you are so talented, why don't you come to our literature and art department?" Li Jie thought for a while and agreed. "Then I hope that my seniors and sisters will take care of me from now on. It's just a matter of joining the club. There is no need to gain others' respect. At most, you can just not participate in activities or work." Shen Yu's smile became even brighter. "You're welcome, Junior. Your joining gives our literary and art club another general." After coming out of the activity room, Lu Kaiyu said, "Li Jie's program has been selected, and Wang's Haiheng's street dance, I think there is a high chance of being selected. As for Mengting and Zixi, although your program has little hope of being selected, there is still a small chance that your program will be selected. Participation is rewarding in itself." Lu Kai's moon scene is full of words. Li Jie thanked him and said, "I'm sorry to trouble the Cultural Affairs Committee." Chen Mengting and Cao Qian also said, "Thank you Kaiyu." Only Wang's Haiheng just nodded to Lu Kaiyu and seemed to suddenly become silent. On Tuesday the 18th, Martial Arts Without Limits rose to the 13th place on the potential newcomer list, and the number of views finally exceeded 10,000. In fact, the most difficult thing for a newcomer to write a new book is that the popularity is bleak at the beginning, and the number of clicks, collections, and recommendation votes often increase by single digits every day. But if the title of this book is good, the updates are stable, and the content is above the standard, this miserable situation will gradually improve. The better the quality of the book, the faster this turnaround will be. Especially as the total number of words in the work increases, more and more readers will be attracted. After reaching 50,000 words, the daily popularity growth rate will be 3 or even 4 digits. After reaching 100,000 words, the number of hits every day can even increase by tens of thousands. The popularity of an excellent work will snowball, getting bigger and bigger. After returning from get out of class at noon, when Li Jie logged into the author's backend, he found an extra text message on the site. When he opened it, he saw that it was indeed a contract text message. "Hello Zimua, your work Martial Arts Without Limits has been reviewed and has met the contracting standards. Contracting Editor, Warren QQ 279155578, Responsible Editor, SWI 569234379. The contract is ready." Although he was sure that he could sign the contract, at this moment, Li Jie still felt like a stone had fallen to the ground. Li Jie added the contracted editor's QQ, answered 2 questions and sent a friend application, which was quickly approved. There is nothing to talk about with the contracted editor. The other party is only responsible for the signing. Li Jie knows that the Kidian contract basically has no room for bargaining for a new author. After filling in his personal information, bank card, and other relevant information with ease, Li Jie got the electronic version of the contract in more than 10 minutes, copied the contract to a USB flash drive, and added the QQ account of the editor-in-chief Shui Ye. After the application was approved, Li Jie didn't try to get close to the editors. The editors at Kidian were very cold-hearted. It was best to talk directly if you had something to say. If you asked if you were there or not, the other party would not reply, unless of course you were a great person. But what Li Jie didn't expect was that he didn't contact the editor, but the editor took the initiative to find him. Shui Ye, Zimu, hello. Your book Martial Arts Without Limits has great potential, come on. Li Jie was immediately flattered, thank you, editor Shui Ye, for your favor. I will work hard. Shui Ye, the update speed can be slowed down. You are updating too fast now. If this continues, the word count will be exceeded before the recommendations are finished. It is recommended to update once or twice a day when there are no recommendations, and 2 to 3 times after there are recommendations. I understand, thank you Shui Ye for your guidance. In fact, Li Jie knows all these common sense updates. The reason for updating so fast before was to get on the list as soon as possible and reveal the results as soon as possible. Even if Shui Ye didn't tell him, he would also slow down in the future. Renew. Shui Ye, don't worry about the recommendation, I will try my best to help you get it. Also, how many manuscripts do you have in reserve? More than 300,000 words, Li Jie opened his mouth. Shui Ye, that's right. Save more manuscripts and update them after they are released. It was rare to meet an editor who was interested in newcomers, so Li Jie chatted with the other person for a while. After chatting, he saw that the time was already past 1 in the afternoon. It was time to start afternoon class soon. There was no time to code anymore, so he just took it. I went to the teaching building in advance with my books. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 25. There are only 2 classes on modern Chinese history in the afternoon. Because it was half an hour early and few people had come to the classroom yet, Li Jie found a seat near the back and sat down, and began to write and scratch in his notebook, conceiving the follow-up plot of Martial Arts Without Limits. As the class time approached, more and more students walked into the classroom in 2s and 3s. Suddenly a girl walked up to Li Jie and stopped. Li Jie, is there no one sitting next to you? Li Jie looked up and was a little surprised to see it was Lu Kaiyu. Lu Kaiyu was wearing a white loose t-shirt on her upper body and a pair of denim cut-off shorts on her lower body. Under the shorts, she had a pair of long, fair, and straight legs, which were particularly eye-catching. She is the kind of girl who is very bright and lively, and is easy to like. No one is here, you can sit down if you want. Lu Kaiyu put down her textbook and sat down next to Li Jie. It's so hot this afternoon. She pushed up the bangs on her forehead, wiped the sweat, and gently shook the ponytail behind her head. Li Jie, don't you think the classroom is boring? Fortunately, if you feel stuffy, I'll help you turn up the fan. Li Jie reached out and turned the fan switch on the wall to make the fan above his head spin faster. What are you writing? Seeing that Li Jie had been writing, Lu Kaiyu leaned over and took a curious look. Li Jie happened to also turn his head. For a moment, their eyes met, and their lips and teeth were very close, as if they were about to kiss. Generally. Damn, Jizi, what are you two doing in broad daylight? This scene happened to be watched by He's Higang, Wang's Haiheng and Yang Hao, who walked in. He's Higang and Yang Hao looked curious and ambiguous, while Wang's Haiheng looked a little ugly. Li Jie and Lu Kaiyu quickly sat up straight and distanced themselves from each other. Lu Kaiyu smiled at He's Higang and the others as if nothing had happened, and Li Jie's expression was even more calm. After class, Lu Kaiyu took the initiative to chat quietly with Li Jie. Li Jie, are you imagining a novel? I heard they said you were writing a book online. What subject matter are you writing about? Can you show it to me? Sure enough, women would only affect his coding speed. Li Jie stopped writing and glanced at Lu Kaiyu, just in time to meet her bright smile. However, what bad thoughts can a pretty girl have? She was just curious. Li Jie would not be narcissistic and think that Lu Kaiyu liked him. Lu Kaiyu would suddenly approach him. To put it bluntly, he was just curious about an excellent boy who he didn't understand. If he really thinks that someone is interested in him and pursues him in return, he will only make a joke. I write fantasy novels. You girls probably don't like reading them. Why do you think I don't like it? In your eyes, you only like romance novels about love and love, Lu Kaiyu said, unconvinced. Li Jie smiled and said, "This is what you said, not me." Huh, but that's what you're thinking. The two of them were just chatting awkwardly. In fact, if Li Jie really knew how to please girls, he would not have been single forever after spending 4 years in college in his last life. After school, He's Higang asked curiously, "Jizi, what's going on with you and Lu Kaiyu?" Li Jie said calmly, "Nothing happened." Wang Zhaihang suddenly said, "Jizi, if you like Lu Kaiyu, just tell him directly that we are all brothers and I will never compete with you." Li Jie laughed angrily, "This Wang Zhaihang is really interesting. Old Wang, even if I really like Lu Kaiyu, you don't have to give in. Likewise, if you like Lu Kaiyu, just pursue her according to your ability, and don't mess with me here. Brother gang, I'm leaving first." After saying that, Li Jie didn't care that Wang Zhaihang's face turned extremely ugly. He said hello to his Higang and left directly. He and Wang Zhaihang broke up on bad terms. In fact, Li Jie had long realized that Wang Zhaihang was somewhat inexplicably hostile to him, and after hearing what he said today was neither yin nor yang, he was too lazy to maintain any false friendship with him. Is Wang Zhaihang worried that Li Jie will compete with him for Lu Kaiyu? No, he was jealous that Li Jie had stolen his limelight. Li Jie knew this very well. Speaking of which, his relationship with Wang Zhaihang in his previous life was not bad on the surface. But to make friends with someone like Wang Zhaihang, the premise is that you cannot surpass him. If you are not as good as him, he will take care of you as a superior. But once you surpass him, he will easily lose his balance and will do things, say something to make you uncomfortable. Li Jie shook his head. Maybe Wang Zhaihang will suddenly want to pursue Lu Kaiyu, maybe he is competing with him. After leaving the teaching building, Li Jie went to the print shop in the school shopping mall, printed out the electronic contract on the USB flash drive, signed his name and pen name, and then went to the post office to mail the contract out. At this time, the express delivery business was far less developed than it would be a dozen years later. There were express delivery points everywhere. In remote villages and towns, you could basically only send items through postal outlets. Maybe open a courier agency? In rebirth novels, many protagonists started their businesses by opening express delivery points. But Li Jie gave up the idea after just thinking about it. If he had opened a courier store before he won the lottery, it would indeed be a good way to start. After all, the investment is low and the return is quick. But once he has the capital, he doesn't have to work hard anymore. As for how to start a business, Li Jie hasn't decided yet. At 5 p.m., dormitory 210 on the 4th floor. Zhang Yu hung up the washed clothes, picked out a blue suspender floral skirt and put it on, briefly touched up his makeup, picked up his lunchbox and prepared to go to the cafeteria to get some food. Zhang Kaiyan, the cook, glanced at her and said, "I really can't stand you, so I went to the cafeteria to get a meal, and I had to dress up." Zhang Yu smiled and said, "Girls have to dress themselves up all the time, otherwise how can they attract boys? Brother Kaiyan, how can you find a boyfriend if you dress like a boy all day long?" Zhang Kaiyan shook her head, "Tisk, why should I find a boyfriend? I feel more comfortable alone." Suddenly, someone shouted at the door, "Zhang Yu, there is a handsome guy looking for you downstairs." Zhang Yu went downstairs to the dormitory door and saw a rather handsome boy, holding a shopping bag, standing under the tree. "Handsome boy, do you have a problem with me?" Li Jie smiled and said, "I just want to treat you to a meal. I wonder if classmate Zhang Yu is willing to honor me." "Invite me to dinner." Zhang Yu smiled softly. "Handsome guy, are you trying to chase me?" Although Zhang Yu's appearance cannot be compared with that of Xiao Jiao and Bai Wei, it is not bad either. He has fair skin, a bit of coquettishness between his eyebrows and eyes, and he is a sexy type with a great figure. At this time, when he smiled, his eyes moved, which was very seductive. But Li Jie was completely unmoved. "Yes and no, I want to chase Xiao Jiao from your dormitory." "You want to chase Xiao Jiao?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 26. Zhang Yu was stunned for a moment, then suddenly said, "You are the Li Jie from Chinese class 2. "Yes," Li Jie nodded. Zhang Yu's attitude suddenly became cold. "Then you have found the wrong person. My relationship with Xiao Jiao is very ordinary, so I can't help you much." Hearing this, Li Jie smiled and said, "No, I found the right person. Classmate Zhang Yu, how about we go to dinner first and chat while eating?" At night, Zhang Yu walked into the dormitory carrying a shopping bag and humming a song. Zhang Qiang asked, "Xiao, you went on a date with a boy. Are you in such a good mood?" "It's not a date, it's just a meal." Zhang Yu took a box from the bag and opened it to find a set of cosmetics, including lipstick, foundation, eyeshadow, etc., a total of 7 pieces. "Xiao, are you buying cosmetics again?" Lu Li next to her saw it and came over. Zhang Yu glanced at Xiao Jiao on the side and said with a smile, "I didn't buy this, it was a gift from someone else." At this time, a girl holding 4 roses and a love letter knocked on the door and walked in. "Is Xiao Jiao here?" Zhang Qiang immediately smiled and said to Xiao Jiao, "Your roses and love letters are here again." After going to dormitory 210 to send roses and love letters, Cao Xiao Jian went upstairs and returned to her dormitory. "I went to dormitory 210 just now and met Xiao Jiao from the Department of Tourism Management. She is indeed pretty." Hearing this, Huo Lily said, 210 has Xiao Jiao and Bai Wei, but we 408 also have Zia Y and Tsuyu, who are just as good as them. After saying that, she said to Tan Hui and Zhou Zi, "Really Zia Y, Ziu?" Tan Hui and Zhou Ziu just smiled and didn't answer. Chen Wenjing asked curiously, "Xiao Jian, why are you going to dormitory 210? Cao Xiao Jian smiled and said, "I went to send flowers and love letters to people." Huo Lily said immediately, "Xiao Jian, have you met that boy too?" "Yes, I also got a bottle of drink." Cao Xiao Jian gestured to the juice in her hand. Zhou Ziu asked, "What boy? What are you two talking about?" Huo Lily explained, "In recent days, a boy has been chasing Xiao Jiao, who lives in room 210. Every night, he will randomly find a girl downstairs in our dormitory to send him flowers and love letters, and he will also give the girl a bottle of drink as a thank you. This boy is quite interesting." Zhou Ziu smiled, and then asked, "How many days has he persisted?" "It's been 3 or 4 days, said Huo Lily. Tan Hui suddenly asked, "Do you know that boy's name and which class he is in?" Huo Lily shook her head, "I really don't know." After thinking for a while, she added, "I heard it was from the Chinese department." "Department of Chinese?" Tan Hui suddenly felt nervous. "It can't be him, right?" Then, she immediately shook this ridiculous idea out of her mind. "How can it be?" At this time, Zhou Ziu said seemingly unintentionally, "By the way, speaking of the Chinese department, Zia Y, Isn't your high school classmate Li Jie also in the Chinese department? Tan Hui didn't answer. When she thought of Li Jie, she felt inexplicably irritable. More than half a month has passed, and Li Jie has never contacted her or looked for her. He didn't even reply to her text messages. Thinking of this, Tan Hui couldn't help but feel aggrieved. It was obviously Li Jie who took advantage of her, but it felt like she was wrong. 3 or 4 days passed in the blink of an eye, and the time came to the 23rd, which was also the day when the welcome party was held. Since the 25th is the Mid-Autumn Festival holiday, we will still have classes on the 22nd and 23rd, Saturday and Sunday, and then we will have a 3-day holiday on the 24th, 25th and 26th. In the past few days, although Li Jie's updates have slowed down and he only updated 2 chapters a day, the ranking of martial arts without limits on the newcomer gang has been rising. On the 19th, it rose to 10th place. On the 20th, it rose to 8th place. On the 22nd, he rose to number 6 on the rookie list. The total number of clicks exceeds 30,000, with a total of more than 2,800 recommended votes and more than 2,100 collections. In addition, the contract was also mailed to the Shanghai headquarters of Kidian, and the signing status has been changed to Sign A. On the 20th, on Friday, the writer received a recommendation website short message in the backend. Next week, Martial Arts Without Limits will test the water and be the first recommendation, and it will be strongly recommended by category. Strong recommendation by category is the best among test recommendations, and it belongs to the recommendation position for old authors or popular new books. The first recommendation is a strong recommendation in the category, which also represents the editor's optimism for Martial Arts Without Limits. Li Jie estimates that the popularity of Martial Arts Without Limits will skyrocket again. At noon, Zhang Yu walked into the dormitory holding a large bouquet of roses and said to Xiao Qiao, your flowers and love letter have arrived today. Several girls in the dormitory immediately gathered around him. Ah, 64 roses. Why did you send it so early today? I feel like something is about to happen. Could it be that Li Jie finally couldn't bear it anymore and wants to confess to our Xiao Qiao tonight? Xiao Qiao hugged the rose with a slight smile on her lips. She listened to the chatter among her roommates and enjoyed the feeling of being the center of attention. As if she had become the heroine of a romance novel, she became more and more curious and looking forward to the boy named Li Jie. Bai Wei asked Zhang Yu, when you met Li Jie, what did he look like? Yes, what does he look like? Is he handsome? Are you worthy of our little Zhou? Zhang Qiang and Lu Li also asked. After a week, the girls in dormitory 210 were all intrigued by the boy named Li Jie. That Li Jie is quite tall and handsome. Zhang Yu glanced at Xiao Qiao as he spoke. As for whether he is worthy of our Xiao Qiao, it depends on whether Xiao Qiao likes him. Anyway, if Li Jie pursues me, I definitely agree. At 7 o'clock in the evening, the 2007 class welcome party with the theme of inspiring youth and letting dreams fly kicked off in the gymnasium. There are 4,000 to 5,000 seats in the staircase hall on the first floor, and they are all packed. There were 3,000 to 4,000 freshmen, plus many old students who came to join in the fun, making the entire hall overcrowded. He's Hegang, Yang Hao and all the other students from Chinese class 2 sat at the back of the hall. Li Jie and Wang Haiheng had to perform, so they sat in the front row closest to the backstage. As for the seats in the front row, they are reserved for school leaders. When the time came to 7:30 sharp, the party officially started. As the beautiful music sounded, the originally noisy hall suddenly became quiet. The lights dimmed and the curtain slowly opened. 2 well-dressed hosts, a man and a woman, came from the backstage. The female host was Shen Yu, the Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Literature and Art, and the male host introduced himself as Song Lilong, the chairman of the student union. The 2 hosts sang together and after finishing their opening remarks, the show began. The first to appear were 7 young and beautiful girls, performing modern dance, including Lu Kaiu. The 7 girls dressed coolly and danced vigorously and energetically. The atmosphere at the scene was immediately aroused, and bursts of applause and cheers broke out. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 27. After the dance, performances came on stage one after another, including solo singing, piano performance, sketches, magic, jazz dance, etc. Half an hour after the party started, Lu Kaiu came to Li Jie and reminded him and Wang Zhaiheng that it was time to go backstage to prepare for the performance. Li Jie took the guitar bag and came to the backstage. He said hello to Shen Yu and waited for 5 or 6 minutes. After a magic show, he heard Song Lilong announce the curtain and said, "Now please enjoy the guitar playing and singing. Paper is short, love is long." Performer, Li Jie, Class 2, Chinese Class 2007. Shen Yu smiled at Li Jie and made a cheering gesture. Li Jie nodded to her and walked onto the stage with his guitar. Sitting down on the chair in front of the microphone, Li Jie brewed his emotions for a while, then plucked the guitar strings and sang softly. "You accompany me into the cicada summer. Beyond the hustle and bustle of the city. The song is traveling. Your eyes like pomegranates. I don't see your gentleness. Lost the laughter among the flowers. Time cannot stand still. The waiting of flowing clouds." Auditorium. Tan Hui was completely stunned when she saw Li Jie walking onto the stage with his guitar. How can this be? In Tan Hui's impression, Li Jie didn't have any talents except studying. He can't sing, he can't dance, he can't even play ball. I remember that at the class party in my sophomore year of high school, the whole class made noises and asked Li Jie to come on stage to sing, but he refused to sing. The situation was extremely embarrassing, but the class teacher came to the rescue and let him come on stage to say a few words. When did he learn to play and sing so well? I really miss you. In every rainy season. What you choose to forget. It's what I hate to part with the most. Paper is short but love is long. There are too many ripples in the story. My story is all about you. Listening to Li Jie singing, Tan Hui couldn't help but fall into memories. Every moment of my high school days flashed through my mind. Li Jie helped her bring breakfast, rushed to help her with work when she was on duty, bought medicine for her when she was sick, told jokes to make her happy, and would take her jokes seriously. Li Jie had always behaved very clumsily in front of her, and he even behaved clumsily when he liked her. She didn't like him before, thinking he was too rigid and boring. But his clumsiness could not be because he liked her too much and was too cautious in front of her, which was why he was in a dilemma. Thinking of this, Tan Hui's nose felt sour and tears almost fell. She realized that because of her contempt and disdain, she had lost a boy who really liked her. How could I fall in love with her? And decided to go home with her. It doesn't matter if I give up everything I have. Paper is short but love is long. I can't tell you enough about how young I was at that time. My story is still about you. My story is still about you. The singing stopped abruptly along with the last guitar sound, and the hall fell into silence. After a brief aftertaste, thunderous cheers and applause erupted. Many people are shouting for an encore. In the middle of the auditorium, several girls from dormitory 210 were sitting together. Zhang Qiang applauded and said to Zhang Yu, "Is this the Li Jie who chases our Xiao Jiao? He's very good. He's handsome and sings well." She asked Xiao Jiao again, "What do you think of him? Is he your type?" "Yes, Xiao Jiao, tell us about it," Zhang Yu and Lu Li also asked with a smile. Xiao Jiao just smiled but said nothing. Bai Wei said, "Our Xiao Jiao is thin-skinned, so don't ask her." On the stage, Li Jie stood up from his chair and took a long breath. He had been singing too immersely just now, and his mood was a little agitated. At the end of the performance, after Li Jie bowed, he did not leave the stage in a hurry. Instead, he took the microphone, looked around the audience, and said softly, "This song paper is short, love is long" is dedicated to someone in the audience. Audience. Having said this, Li Jie paused and looked around the audience, as if he was looking for someone. To an audience member? Tan Hui became nervous instantly and subconsciously avoided Li Jie's patrolling eyes. "My story is all about you. This song paper is short but love is long." Li Jie obviously wrote it for her. At this time, I heard Li Jie say, "This is for Xiao Jiao, a student in tourism management class 1. Boom, the students in the audience were instantly excited. Cheers and applause rose and fell. Although it is not forbidden to fall in love when you go to college, many students think that it is a heroic act for a freshman to confess his love to the girl he likes in front of the school leaders at the orientation party. It is too bold. How dare you do it? This guy is awesome. If you don't obey anyone, just obey him." Similar words kept shouting from the boys' mouths. The girls all discussed who Xiao Jiao was and were extremely envious of him. To Xiao Jiao, a student in tourism management class 1? The moment Li Jie's words fell, Tan Hui felt relieved at first, and then felt deep loss and unspeakable bitterness. This song paper is short but love is long turned out not to be for her. But who is that Xiao Jiao? Tan Hui felt very uncomfortable and even a little angry when she thought that Li Jie had been in love with her for 2 years, but ended up falling in love with her again less than a month after starting college. Fortunately, she had always thought that he was honest and rigid, but he turned out to be so half-hearted and changeable when he saw something different. He hit a wall with her and turned around and fell in love with someone else. Will you die if you hold on a little longer? The more you persist, maybe I will agree. Li Jie, you bastard. At this time, I heard a girl not far away shouting, "Xiao Jiao, this guy Li Jie is so fierce, he actually confessed to you in public." Xiao Jiao. Hearing the name, Tan Hui immediately looked over following the voice and found that the person speaking was a boyish girl with short hair, and sitting next to the girl with short hair was an extremely pure, well-behaved, and beautiful girl. This is Xiao Jiao. Tan Hui recognized the other person at a glance, and instantly understood why Li Jie liked her, because the Xiao Jiao was exactly the type that Li Jie liked. Li Jie walked off the stage and passed by Shen Yu. Shen Yu gave him an admiring look. After the two hosts, Shen Yu and Song Lilong, came out of the emergency room together, the order at the venue was finally stabilized and the performance could continue. But the minds of the students present were not on the performance. Li Jie and Xiao Jiao suddenly became the focus of everyone's attention. It is estimated that after tonight, all the students and teachers in the school will know about Li Jie and Xiao Jiao. After the report was finished, Song Lilong walked off the stage and came to Shen Yu's side and said with a smile, "Nowadays freshmen are really bold. Did you notice that when the boy confessed his love, many of the leaders looked unhappy?" Shen Yu glanced at him and said, "I think that boy is brave enough to confess his love in front of thousands of people. What girl can resist such romance? I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn." Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 28. Song Lilong was silent for a few seconds, and then said in a joking tone, Yu, if I confess to you in this way, will you agree?" Shen Yu smiled and said, "You can try it, maybe I will agree." Song Lilong smiled bitterly upon hearing this, "You know, I can't do such a thing." After the party, Li Jie was surrounded by boys as soon as he returned to the dormitory, and they all praised him for his feat. "Man, you are really awesome. I admire you. Brother Jie, strike while the iron is hot. Go and confess your love to someone as soon as possible." "You are sure of it?" "Yes, go confess your love to Xiao Jiao." Everyone started to boo again and asked Li Jie to go downstairs to the girls' dormitory to confess his love. Li Jie refused and said, "Thank you everyone for your support, but the time is not yet ripe to express your love." The people in the dormitory gradually dispersed, and He Zhigang said, "Jizi, you are really good. You have been secretly chasing this girl for a week, and there is no trace of it." After saying that, he said to Wang Zhaiheng on the side, "Old Wang, I said you misunderstood. I think you have someone you like." Wang Zhaiheng reluctantly smiled at Li Jie. "Jizi, I'm sorry, I misunderstood." He apologized, but his heart was blocked. At tonight's party, Li Jie became the protagonist of everyone's attention, and he was completely reduced to foil. If he had known this, Wang Zhaiheng would definitely choose to perform on stage before Li Jie and confess his love to Lu Kaiyu. Then he would be the protagonist tonight. Li Jie glanced at Wang Zhaiheng, smiled faintly, and said, "It's okay." On the surface, the brothers are reconciled as before. He Zhigang asked curiously, "Jizi, what does Xiao Qiao look like that makes you so interested?" Lin Jing said, "It is said to be the flower of tourism management. It is very beautiful." Yang Hao also said, "Yes, she is very beautiful. Brother Jie is really discerning." Li Jie smiled and said nothing. After the New Year party, there is the 3-day Mid-Autumn Festival holiday. The next day, after Li Jie finished his run and had breakfast in the cafeteria, he returned to his dormitory and turned on his computer. He found that Martial Arts Without Limits had topped the list of potential newcomers. In the new week, all the data on the new book list is cleared and the ranking is restarted. Li Jie updated 3 chapters in a row last night, and as expected, Martial Arts Without Limits successfully topped the list. In addition, what makes Li Jie more happy is that Martial Arts Without Limits has also entered the fantasy category click list. Although it ranks very low, the higher the exposure, the better the performance of the novel will undoubtedly be. "Li Jie, lend me your computer for a few minutes." Lin Jing borrowed the computer to check in on the school intranet, later known as renren.com. Watching Lin Jing open the web page on the school intranet, Li Jie suddenly felt something in his heart. At this time, the xiaonei.com BBS was in full swing. Almost all college students had signed up for the xiaonei.com, which was once more popular than QQ and Taiba. Of course, Li Jie does not want to get a share of the pie on social platforms. The success of social software such as blogs, Weibo, and WeChat undoubtedly relies on strong capital, a large existing user base, or a strong team's technical advantages. Li Jie didn't have any of these 3 things, so he was just trying to be a pioneer. What Li Jie was thinking of was Happy Farm on xiaonei.com, which made wedding clothes for people. In 2009, everyone stole food that became popular all over the internet. He remembered that this game first became popular on xiaonei.com, but it was quickly copied by Penguin. It became QQ Farm. However, Li Jie doesn't want to play a food-stealing game. Such social games become popular and cool down faster. What he wants to do is a web game. Web games will be very popular in the next few years. Compared with traditional client games, the threshold for web games is low. There is no need to download a client, no computer configuration requirements, and low time investment. Many web games set limits on physical strength, vitality, etc. It saves game time and is simple to operate. It tracks tasks, automatically finds paths, and automatically fights monsters. Therefore, web games are more attractive to office workers. They are quick to get started and the tasks are simple. They do not take up a lot of time and do not require a lot of thinking. They are suitable for leisure and relaxation during or after work, and only need to top up some money. And office workers are the ones with the most spending power. Many legendary web games use the guise of sentiment to cut off the leaks of office workers. In addition, compared with client games, web games have a shorter development cost cycle, lower costs, and faster capital recovery. If you lose money, you can stop the loss in time, which is what Li Jie values most. At this time, labor costs were still very low. It would take 3 or 5 technicians and a few months to develop a small-cost web game. The funds required would only be 5 to 6 million yuan. For Li Jie, even if all this money was lost, it would still be a waste. It's nothing, just spend money to buy experience. But once successful, it will bring tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of profits, a truly small investment with high returns. However, Li Jie is still a little unsure about the first game to be developed. During the 3-day Mid-Autumn Festival holiday, many students in the school went out to play. In the dormitory, Chen Boyun went home. He's Hegang, Wang's Haiheng and Yang Hao decided to go to the city to play together. Lin Jing also went to find his girlfriend. In the dormitory, only Li Jie was left alone. Li Jie checked online and found that among the web games currently on the market, there was no Dandan Hall. Dandan Hall can be said to be one of the most successful palace-level web games. This throwing game has been popular for several years. The lifespan even extends to mobile games more than 10 years later. The success of Dandan Tang is first of all due to its extremely broad audience. The Q version of the casual competitive mode has attracted a large number of female players. As long as a game has female players, there will be no shortage of male players. Many boys play Dandan Tang just to tease girls. Secondly, the PvP competitive mode and copy mode, as well as a variety of throwing props and novel game maps in the game, greatly enhance the playability and fun of the game. Social gameplay such as guilds and marriages also enrich the content of the game. And the most important point is that in the early stage of Dandan Tang, it is a game for civilians. Even if ordinary players do not top up, as long as you are skilled enough, you can still have a successful time in the game. Compared with those who do not have Krypton, this is what attracts people to games that cannot be played by gold. The influx of a large number of civilian players is the key to the popularity of the game. Li Jie created a new document and recorded the key points of the success of Dandan Tang in it. He couldn't remember when the last Dandan Tang was launched, and he couldn't remember which company developed it. Clearly, I just remember that when I played it for the first time in the summer of 2009, this game was already very popular. Based on this speculation, the development and launch time of Dandan Tang should be between 2008 and 2009. If we want to develop Dandan Tang at this time, there is a certain risk that it will collide with the original company. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 29. But Li Jie decided to develop Dandan Tang. Even if there were risks, it was worth taking. After all, this game is worth at least 1 billion, or even more. In the face of huge profits, the possible losses are not worth mentioning. Since there is a risk of a car crash, try to speed up research and development. What is the saying? Crash is not terrible, whoever is late will be embarrassed. Li Jie simply stopped typing and began to conceive of the game plan for Dandan Tang. The game's PvP mode can be 2 versus 2 or 4 versus 4. The weapons in the game include guns, bricks, fruit baskets, and what else. In addition, the weapons seem to be able to be upgraded. Li Jie thought hard all morning and wrote dozens of pieces of content on the document, completely unsystematic. He leaned back on his chair and sighed. He has only played the game Dandan Tang for a few months. More than 10 years have passed, and many of the contents and details in the game have long been forgotten. It seems that we still need to register the company as soon as possible, form a development team, and brainstorm ideas. Li Jie is a complete layman in game development, and all he can provide is an idea. It was already noon. Li Jie closed his computer and went to the cafeteria to eat. He didn't take his lunchbox and was going to eat xiaozao on the second floor of the cafeteria. But as soon as Li Jie walked to the door of Minjiao restaurant, he heard an uncertain female voice behind him. "Brother Li Jie." Li Jie looked back and said with some surprise, "Shen, be a good classmate." Shen Xinyi smiled and corrected, "It's Shen Xinyi." "Okay, classmate Xinyi, Xinyi, Xinyi." It always reminds Li Jie of that primary school student who is the god of death. "Brother Li Jie, are you coming to the cafeteria to eat too?" After saying that, Shen Xinyi suddenly reacted and said, "No, Li Jie, you are also a freshman, and you asked me to call you senior brother to take advantage of me." At last night's party, she was surprised to see Li Jie come on stage, only to find out that he. Li Jie smiled and said, "I didn't say that I was an old student. You just misunderstood me. Then you won't explain. Who asked you to speak like a senior brother and still call me so nice? So it's my fault." After teasing Shen Xinyi for a while, Li Jie said, "Xinyi, you're here for dinner too, right? Let's go together, Xinyi." He always felt a little awkward when called by this name. Shen Xian nodded in agreement, saying that since she was here to treat, she should just thank Li Jie for his help last time. Li Jie didn't argue with her. The two of them came to the small restaurant on the second floor of the cafeteria and found a seat to sit down. Shen Xian asked Li Jie to order, and Li Jie said just watch it. One portion of covered crucian carp, one portion of spicy chicken, and another dry pot dish. Shen Xian finished the dishes, put down the menu, and saw Li Jie looking at her with a smile. "What's wrong?" she asked confused. "Xinyi, you order what you like, right? Why don't you ask me what I like? Don't you say it's casual? I'm sorry. Why don't you order 2 more of your favorite foods?" Li Jie was amused by her serious look. "I was joking to tease you." Shen Xian pouted and wrinkled her nose. "It's fun to tease me, isn't it? It's quite interesting." Li Jie found that Shen Guiguai was really a bit stupid, and it was easy to take other people's jokes seriously. When he saw her, he felt like he was seeing his past self. Of course, when girls are silly, they are cute, and protective, while when boys are silly, they are rigid, do not understand style, and are given the good guy card. The two chatted while eating. Li Jie didn't talk much. Shen Xinyi was mainly talking. She said that she was a junior college student and envied Li Jie and his undergraduates. She said that she was studying hard and wanted to take the college to bachelor exam next spring. She also said that she felt a little fat and wanted to lose weight. "I weighed myself yesterday and I was almost 95 pounds, Shen Xinyi said with some distress, but the chopsticks in his hands were dancing very fast. Li Jie couldn't help but burst into laughter. "Li Jie, why are you laughing?" Shen Xian picked up a piece of fish and put it in his mouth, chewing the fish and asked vaguely. Li Jie laughed even harder when he saw this. He suddenly remembered Shueshenshin's famous saying, "Does pushing yourself to death count as a work-related injury?" I don't know if his death from laughter is considered a work-related injury. He laughed and complained, "Xinyi, are you afraid of getting fat but you still eat so much?" After being hit by Li Jie's soul, Shen Xian became anxious for a moment, and said in a coquettish voice, "Why did I eat too much?" Li Jie glanced at the dishes on the table, which were all about the same size, and then at Shen Xinyi. The meaning was obvious, "I didn't eat much." When the lie was exposed, Shen Xian couldn't help but blush. After thinking about it, he quickly found another reason. "Yes, I ate a little too much. That's because I didn't eat in the morning, and I have to study in the afternoon, so my body needs to replenish nutrients." Li Jie smiled and nodded, "You are so cute, everything you say is right." He is becoming more and more fond of this girl. She really looks like the snack foodie Shueshanshan in Shan Shan is here. This image does not mean that she looks like Zhao Xiaodao, but that she looks like Shueshanshan. They are just as cute, and lovable, and more importantly, they also like to eat. They taste delicious and make people appetizing just by looking at them. He's still a snack guy, Li Jie whispered subconsciously. What are you talking about? You're not talking bad about me, are you? Shen Xinyi didn't hear clearly and looked at him suspiciously. How could that happen? Li Jackson said, I'm praising you. Tell me the truth, am I really a little fat? Shen Xian touched his chin and said a little unconfidently. Li Jie looked at her carefully. She had a fair and tender face full of collagen, big eyes, as smart and innocent as a deer. The bridge of her nose was not particularly straight, but just right, and her plump and rosy mouth was still a little oily. A height of 162.3 centimeters is definitely not short for a girl, but a figure of less than 95 kilograms is not fat and voluptuous, but just right. A height like Xiao Qiao's 165 centimeters should weigh less than 90 centimeters 5 pounds, I'm obviously a little on the thin side. Experienced men all know that when you hold such a fleshy girl, you feel, ahem, why am I thinking wrong again? It's all this restless energy. Li Jie looked away from Shen Xinyi's body. Not fat, not thin, just right. Really, Shen Xian pouted unconsciously. When Li Jie saw this, his eyes couldn't help but look at each other, they were so similar. Xinyi, are you from southern Hunan? Why do you say I'm from southern Hunan? Shen Xinyi asked strangely. I'm from Chongqing, she repeated to Li Jie in Chongqing dialect. Yuchen? It doesn't look like it, Li Jie shook his head. Isn't that so? Shen Xian smiled and stretched out her hand to pull his ear. I also think I have a good personality. Well, she should be a boy's ideal girlfriend from Chongqing, Li Jie agreed. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 30. After eating, Li Jie said to Shen Xinyi, would you like to go to the supermarket with me to sell something? After obtaining her consent, the two went to the supermarket together. Do you like snacks? Shen Xian asked when he saw that Li Jie kept throwing snacks into the shopping basket. Li Jie nodded noncommittally. I thought only us girls like to eat snacks. Shen Xian thought for a moment and then explained, actually, I don't usually eat snacks. If I eat too much, I will easily gain weight. Stop trying to hide it. Li Jie couldn't help but feel funny. Then what snacks do you usually like to eat? Well, I prefer sweets, such as cheesecake, tiramisu, and mango pudding. Among fruits, my favorite is mango, but mango is too expensive when it comes to delicious food. Shen Xian's whole person became energetic. But eating sweets can easily make you gain weight. Li Jie deliberately said something heartbreaking. Oh, please stop talking. Of course I know that eating sweets will make you gain weight, but when I think about not being able to eat so many delicious things, it makes me heartbroken. You know what? Shen Xinyi looked like he was in pain. Li Jie couldn't help but laugh again, thinking this girl was so interesting. He grabbed a few packages of dried mangoes from the shelf and threw them into the shopping basket. After paying the bill and coming out of the supermarket, Li Jie put the big bag full of snacks into Shen Xian's arms and said, help me take it. You, a big boy, won't take it yourself, so let me, a little girl, take it. Although Shen Xinyi complained, he still reached out and hugged the bag. Li Jie smiled and took her to the fruit stall next to the supermarket to buy some oranges and mangoes. When two people were buying fruit, two girls not far away pointed at them, and one of them even walked over directly. Are you the Li Jie who sang "Paper is Short and Love is Long" at the welcome party yesterday? The girl was very down-to-earth and generous. Hello, I'm Li Jie. Li Jie nodded politely. Li Jie, I especially like your song "Paper is Short and Love is Long," it's so well sung, the girl said, looking at Shen Xinyi. Is this Xiao Qiao? She's so good looking, you two are so beautiful. The talent and beauty of the man are a perfect match. At this time, another girl also ran over. Li Jie, Xiaoqiao, are you two really together? Li Zhe's bold move at the orientation party spread throughout the night, making him a well-known figure in the school. These two girls who came here because of their reputation obviously mistook Shen Xinyi for Xiaoqiao. Faced with this situation, Shen Xinyi was a little at a loss and looked at Li Zhe with questioning eyes. Li Zhe explained with a smile, "Thank you for your support, but I am still chasing Xiaoqiao. This is a very good friend of mine." When they heard that it was not Xiaoqiao, the two girls looked obviously disappointed. They said something similar, wishing Li Zhe to catch up with Xiaoqiao soon and hope to see his performance again, and then left. The two girls gradually walked away, and Li Zhe could faintly hear them talking quietly. "That girl is not Xiaoqiao. I don't know who she is, but she seems to have a very close relationship with Li Zhe. Yes, Li Zhe bought her so many snacks." After this misunderstanding, the atmosphere between Li Zhe and Shen Xinyi was a bit awkward. Li Zhe smiled and said, "Let's go, I'll take you back." The two of them were a little silent along the way. Li Zhe sent Shen Xinyi downstairs to the girls' dormitory and handed her the bag with fruit in his hand. "You go up, I'm leaving first." After Li Zhe finished speaking, he waved his hand to Shen Xian, turned around and left. Shen Xinyi lowered his head and glanced at the bag in his arms, and said hurriedly, "Wait a minute, you forgot to take the snacks." "I don't eat snacks, so I buy them for you," Li Zhe said without looking back. Looking at Li Zhe's retreating back and looking at the snacks in his arms, Shen Xian had a complicated look on his face. She murmured something softly, but her voice was too low and dissipated in the wind. Shen Xian walked into the dormitory carrying a large bag of snacks and fruit. Seeing this, his roommates gathered around him. "My dear, you robbed the supermarket. Where did you get the money to buy so many snacks?" In the evening, Li Zhe took a large bouquet of roses from the flower shop and returned to the dormitory. He found that He's Higang and the others had returned from the city. Wang's Haihang spent more than 4,000 to buy a Dell laptop. He's Higang and Yang Hao also bought a new mobile phone and a mobile phone respectively. MP4. In 2007, computers were not so popular, and most of the students at Hongcheng Normal University came from rural areas or the working class. The rich and powerful would not come to this ordinary second-tier college. Therefore, not many people have the money to buy a computer, and many people from poor families don't even have a cheap mobile phone. For someone like Wang's Haiheng, who was willing to spend 4,000 to 5,000 to buy a laptop right after school started, his family background is considered to be pretty good. Seeing the three of them sitting around the computer watching a movie, Li Zhe put the bouquet on his table, pulled up a chair and sat down next to it. "Jizi, you still want to send flowers? There must be hundreds of flowers in this big bouquet. It's such a waste of money. It's better to go and express your love directly," He's Higang said. "Not that many, only 81. Li Zhe's original plan was to send roses in multiples of 2 for 11 days before confessing his love to Xiaoqiao, but for some reason, he suddenly felt a little unmotivated. Does he really like Xiaoqiao? There should be a little bit, but it's just a man's affection for beautiful girls. In the last life, Li Zhe's college life was gray, and Xiaoqiao was one of the few colors. He just wanted to make up for his regrets and seize the color that was once elusive. Li Zhe also knew very well why he wavered. It's because of Shen Xinyi. This girl completely matched his ideal girlfriend. The moment Li Zhe walked out of the flower shop, he even wanted to take the bouquet of roses and confess his love to Shen Xian. But this impulse was quickly restrained by his reason. Li Zhe is no longer the big boy in his early 20s. He knows well that he cannot make decisions based on impulse. No matter how much you like me, I can't withstand the passing of time or the turmoil of the world. Is he really confident that he can protect Shen Xian for the rest of his life? Even if he can guarantee himself, what about Shen Xinyi? You must know that people will change, and so will feelings. Falling in love at first sight is easy, but staying together for a long time is difficult. What's more, he has already made up his mind not to give away his feelings easily. As long as he is not serious, he will not lose. Just when Li Jie was struggling, a text message helped him make up his mind. Zhang Yu, come here quickly, someone came first to confess to Xiaoqiao. Looking at the text messages on his phone, Li Jie's eyes narrowed. Someone steal the tower? You really don't have martial ethics, you actually carry out a sneak attack. If this allowed the other party to successfully steal the tower, wouldn't his previous public confession at the party become a joke?